city of mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, city of mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop worked his life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people, this is city I met all my best friends. And I wanna thank every brick, I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap show at Great American Hall. I used to beg my homies for a ride across the bridge to goof off and spend the whole damn day doing whatever we want. Keith drove us down to Ice Place while we'd roll up a blunt, and me and Jack would get stoney, walk around and get lost. Don't think I'll ever truly pay back all I was lucky to get just by walking through the city. No, I'm a small part of this.
City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down, city of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
I never really had a place to call my own, so I travel and I roam till I find that. But I'm full of adventure, so I wander and I venture, and it's safe to say that really I don't mind that. I book a flight to try to figure where my mind's at, a spot where I don't spend no money, just some time at. I mix and mingle with the people till I learn a little. I brought some weed and baby, maybe we could burn a little. She said you're funny, I said no, I'm Xavier, then I left. Sun shining, birds chirping, let me take a breath. I'm headed to the city where my chance to make it best. What people like to give a little, then you take the rest. I'm hoping one day maybe I can find a place to rest. I fell in love with life and wonder where it take me next. I like the hustle and bustle, I fell in love with the fashion. I feel the pulse of the city, it's moving me like a passion, and it's mine.
How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down, city of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. Me and my hometown, baby, we go way back. All the situations, circumstances, still we don't mind. Steady going on, I dance around the street lights. Hey, I know every street sign, hanging around the block like if you are my friend, then you are welcome any moment. Yeah, city of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down, city of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
Yeah! What it do, people? What it do, people? What it do? Welcome back to the show, Graham. It is back to your official host. I am Doc Rock, your content creation coach. Today, we're going to talk about some things. So we're going to dive in because we want to be respectful to those who watch this on the replay. But you know what it is. If you have questions, comments, feedback, something you need, drop that down in the section below. My man Paul will tell you how to get it done. After we go through the prezo, we'll get back, we'll answer your questions, and we'll get it started. So I've been away at social media marketing world for like the last 2 weeks, and I must say, must be fanglorious, like absolutely dope. It was quite incredible. Like it's really hard to explain to you the type of recharge or energy you get from an event like social media marketing world. Even if you swore you knew everything, let's just say you one of these cool kids. I don't need to know that. Like, I'm good. I know all this stuff. Doesn't matter. If you never went to a single session, if all you did was kick it in the hallway and then meet all of the incredible people and have those conversations, make those connections, that alone was worth it. Okay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit after the prezo, but let's dive in right away. Today, I wanted to talk about, so you've been doing all of the stuff, right? You went now, you got all of the gear, you bought your new Mac Studio, you got your new camera, you got your lights all set up, you got everything dialed in. You think you're ready. Now what do? Well, having a conversation with one of my people yesterday, and it's kind of funny because this conversation also happened when we were at Social Media Marketing World. And truth be told, what most people need to do at this point in time is work on their ability to tell stories. I've said this a couple hundred times, but I don't think people are paying attention, because I'm still, to this day, right here, right now, getting questions about, oh, should I get this camera or that camera? Don't care about your damn camera. Can you hold an audience's attention? I just watched 40 or 50 professional quote-unquote speakers try to hold the audience attention of a couple hundred people live in the room. Some of them nailed it. The Pat Flynn's, the Sean Cannells, the Miss Diana Gladneys, the Kenya Kellys, like, they knocked it out of the park. There were some folks that didn't. I ain't going to call them out right now because it wouldn't be fair. Some folks was up there doing their class, and like a dog could smell fear, you could smell the nervousness. You could smell the lack of confidence. You just wanted to pounce. So it leads me to believe that in order for our people to be good at doing all the things, they need to get good at the ability to not just tell those stories, but to set intrigue and apply value so that when they are talking to their communities, you are holding it down, as we say in the streets. Right? I don't want anybody in LGL family to embarrass themselves because they got the opportunity to be somewhere and then now they can't stand up and hold the room. So as your content creation coach, my job is to give you some outlook on how to be better at telling stories. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's very important. Let's get into the prezo real quick, and then we'll come back. So you know how we start all the presentations. This is for anybody that's brand new around here. If you're new around here, let us know in the comments. I just want to tell you right now, your excuse is 100% valid. So what? Yes, LGL people, they know. Your excuse is 100% value, but so what? Now what? What are you going to do about it? Okay? Like, yes, I only have this. Yes, you only have that. Yes, the time is limited. Yes, the family doesn't understand. Yes, your kids make you busy. Yes, you only have $8 in your bank account. Yes, you have all of these things. Yes, your name is Victor and you look like that. I'm joking, Victor. Whatever. That's your excuse. It's valid. Okay, now what? Now what are we going to do that your excuse is valid? I just want to go ahead and give you that because one thing I'm not a fan of, I'm just not a fan of excuses. The maximum effective range of an excuse is 0.8 feet. We need to talk about how to tell better stories, okay? So in order, I just saw Victor's smiley face. I'm trying to stay on track, Victor. Stop messing with me. You got to be able to tell these better stories, right? And I don't mean, let's put it this way. Have you ever, even if you take the comedy out of it, have you ever listened to Kevin Hart tell a story? Like, even you, not that you can ignore the comedy because the brother is just straight up funny, but He is a fantastic storyteller. Kevin has you on every single word trying to explain what comes next. So there are some things to that. If you are in sales, this will get you more sales. If you are a hiring person at your office, you will get better hires. If you are a chef, you will cook better food. If you are a modern crochet aficionado, you will create better products when you can tell better stories. There was an experiment done a few years back where they had somebody go online and buy a bunch of stuff off of eBay. I mean, just crazy off the wall things off of eBay. Then the guy hired a bunch of professional storytellers to write the descriptions for each of these mundane items. I mean, like fully mundane items. Here, let me grab something mundane from the desk. This actually does have a story. This is a lovely shell. It's very gorgeous. It's very beautiful. And people are like, well, Doc, why do you have a shell on your desk? And some people will just assume, well, because he lives in Hawaii. So this must be a Hawaii thing. Hawaii people have nautical elements on their desk. It has call waiting. Hold on. Actually, no, this shell was given to me by a friend of mine who's a shamisen practitioner in Okinawa. Shamisen is, you ever see the three-string looking guitar that people play with the little paddle? It looks like a rice paddle, and you hear the Okinawa music. When you guys are being racist and making the stereotypical Japanese sound, that's racist. It's actually a dope instrument. It's called a shamisen. That noise that you guys always make fun of, whatever, when you guys think you're being funny, that's a very beautiful instrument called a shamisen. And my friend who basically went to Okinawa to play that brought this back for me, knowing that my family is from Okinawa. And I keep this on my desk as a reminder of Okinawa. And it's beautiful and it just looks dope. But there's an example. Okay, so what these guys did was they went and they bought all these items from eBay. Say, let's just say they roughly cost like $10 a piece. And what they went and did, had these professional storytellers rewrite stories and descriptions about these items. Most of the items resold on eBay for 10x their original price. That's the power of a dope story. The reason why people think diamonds are more important than emeralds is because somebody named De Beers many, many years ago told everybody that your man don't love you unless he buy you this particular rock. It's a It's a rock. It's a rock. It's just a freaking clear rock. But somebody eons ago named De Beers told everybody, look, here's this elegant rock we found on our missions in Africa. And what did they do to blow it up? The jungle was dangerous. This is rude. This is rude. It's a little racist, but this is what happened. The people there were savage. They were cannibals. They wanted to eat us. We had to travel through this dark jungle with no this and no that, and it was in blah, 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 blah. So therefore, this particular rock is more valuable than the next. And because of a bunch of lies and a bunch of racist fear-mongering, to this day, we all think diamonds are somehow doper than some other rock. Okay? Like, it's just a story. Now, it has properties for industrial use, and it is strong and it's hard or whatever. I get that. But there's no way a 1 carat stone should be 35 grand. That is just pure ignorance. But hey, that's what happens. Okay. So, in order to be interesting, you have to be interested. This is a Dale Carnegie thing. I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine named Jeff Bart from Storybook Greenlight. I can't say it straight. Anyway, story green light. And he was asking me, how is it that you manage to know things about all myriad things and blah, blah, blah? It has to do with the fact that I remain interested. I always study things. I study things that have nothing to do with me. I read a lot. When I'm not reading, I'm watching something where I can grok something. Yes, I enjoy mindless TV. I must say the new Halo show is off the freaking chain, right? But even then, when I'm watching a quote unquote entertainment story like the 10 Rings of Shang-Chi, I am also looking at the production quality. I'm looking at the storyline. I am studying the story arc. I am checking the character development, things like that. Okay? So in order to be interesting, you have to be interested, right? Dale Carnegie said it, right? The best thing you can do in order to get people to understand or hear your story is get better at absorbing stories. Because you will grok information on the fly that will later work for you. I say to your advantage, and I don't mean it to be like manipulative. It just is what it is. If all of a sudden I go somewhere, okay, and I'm working on a deal, right? Say this is a multi-million-dollar deal. I'm about to sign this contract with this brand to be a brand sponsor. And I have to go meet the final person who is with the yay or nay. That final person basically comes up and says, all right, I have some reservations. Everybody on my team is down for you, but I have some reservations. I don't know what they are just yet, but I'll explain it in a little bit. And then you notice there's a picture in the office, and this person has a daughter, and the daughter is holding a hockey stick. And I'm like, oh, your daughter plays field hockey? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean that's interesting? One of my closest friends, one of the people who steals my channel and takes over, is a world-class field hockey referee, and she does something very interesting. She records all the matches, and then she combs through it, and she critiques the referees and umpires in order to teach the umpires how to not make dumb calls. Has your daughter ever lost a game because of what you thought was a dumb call? Yeah. Oh, man, you got to go check out my friend's channel. She's really awesome. We talk basically every day. And, yeah, she can sometimes help you understand stuff. Like, I'd see stuff that I thought was bad calls, but I happened to be watching her one day, and she's explaining why they call something a certain way. And at first, I disagreed with it, but then after I looked at it, I was like, hey, now I understand. So now I just watch the game at a whole different level. I find myself watching the umpires run up and down just as much as I'm watching the players to see what they're going to do. And that person's like, man, I didn't know any other American, especially dude, who was into like field hockey. That's pretty interesting, blah, blah. You know what? You sound like a good cat. Here's your contract. To be interesting, be interested. You know what I mean? Thanks, Keely, for the contract. But I'm just saying, this stuff happens in real life, man. It happens in real life. You'd be amazed at what your connection to other kinfolk is. And sometimes it's hella random. And it's random because you cared enough to pay attention to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Okay? Woo! All right. You have to have an informed opinion. This one is very important to me because I watch so many videos about the latest Apple release products. And I watch so many people talk a lot of smack that is completely wrong. Like absolutely 110% wrong. It is mind-blowing. But yet, the level of intrigue, we'll talk about why it was still working for them as we get towards the end of the prezo. But you have to have an informed opinion. And what I mean by that, and I talk about this all the time, there's a book, 12 Steps of Compassion, Karen Armstrong, And basically states that in order to be a good proponent of red, you have to understand a lot about blue. So in order to have a good conversation with somebody about why Sony is the business, you need to have a good understanding as to why Canon is the business to another person. And this is where we fall down heavily. We fall down heavily in our sort of political climate right now, because people take things for face value without any understanding of what's going on in the other person's head. And it's kind of messed up. In order to be a good proponent of what you want, you should also understand what other people want. And know why they might connect to something a certain way, and understand the reason why something resonates with another person, right? That is far less selfish than just going out there and like standing your ground without knowing deeper connections why. Like there's reasons, and then there's emotional things. And then so you want to have the ability to have an informed conversation. An informed conversation just goes so much further. And you can help people connect with you when you have that informed conversation. So some of you guys need to do a little bit more homework. Don't just repeat what you hear. Go and double check things. And it's better to have a better conversation that way. Let's just put it that way. Okay? Boom. Oh, no. There we go. All right. So let's talk about 20 things. 20 things. I want you to get yourself a pen and paper and write this down. I don't need you to do the exercise now, but I'm going to probably give you this exercise later. Those of you in the Drop Squad class, when we're done with this, I'm going to ask you to give me some items off of your list. I'm not going to tell you how many, so I'm going to suggest you sit down and do the whole 20. Okay? The 20 things argument goes as follows. What are 20 things that I know that are valuable enough that people would pay for? So if you're trying to figure out how to grow your channel, if you're trying to figure out how to get more subs, if you're trying to figure out how to get more views or how to get more sales, or how to gain some authority so that Google knows who you are, I need you to do the 20 thing exercise. As your doctor, as your content creation coach, I am prescribing you right now, you need to do the 20 things exercise. What are 20 things I know right now with enough value that people would pay for it? That's your next course. That's your next newsletter. That's your 20 next blog post. That's your 20 next Instagram post, 20 next LinkedIn post, 20 next Facebook posts, 20 next videos. That covers you for a minute. Now, here's the funny thing about it. As you do this exercise, sourdough bread, Dina, becomes a dope lesson, and then somebody goes, sourdough bread is off the chain, fam, but you know what I really love? I love a good sourdough pancake. And you go, well, it turns out you can make sourdough pancakes off the same starter that you did for sourdough bread. Let me show you how. Oh, well, Dina, I don't have access to sourdough starter. Amazon won't ship it to me for some reason. Dina goes, all right, cool. Let me show you how to make sourdough. What? You can make sourdough? Why, absolutely. Maybe Hit up one of your favorite restaurants, Italian restaurants or whatever, where they have dope bread. Get to know the chef and be like, fam, can I get a pinch of your starter? And he'll be like, yeah, go for it. Maybe ask your baker, hey, can I get a little pinch of your starter? Maybe one of your homies. There might be a sourdough group in your neighborhood. And you starting on this journey about making sourdough, you might ask somebody else to send you a starter. Heck, if you live close enough, maybe Dina could send you a little starter. You know what I'm saying? So do the 20 questions, 20 things exercise, people. It will give you, I don't know, Doc, what? I don't know what content I should make next. Do the work. Do the exercise. If you do the 20 things exercise, trust me, fam, you will come up with stuff. You will come up with stuff. It is what it is. So right now in the back of your dome, I love this because I watched Keely do the pivot and she just dumped all she learned about Discord for the last now 4 shows. And it was fantastic. And she gave y'all more than 20 things. The reason why 20 things is because 5 is too easy, 10 is too easy. And if you give people a chance to do something easy, they'll do easy. All right, I changed it to 22 now. Since Eileen just made it rough for everybody else in the class, now your list is 22. The number's arbitrary. But if you do easy, you will do easy. I don't give people a chance to do easy because they will cheat. So 20 is just difficult enough that it will cause you to dig deep. Funny thing is, you won't be able to stop at 20. If you're doing the work, you won't be able to stop at 20. You're going to drop like 50. If you're doing it right. You know what I'm saying? And in the corner of my eye, I can see JP is telling facts over here. When I was a little bitty children, here goes the story, people. Hold your horses. True story. When I was a little children, I wanted to go and I wanted to buy this model rocket kit. I was into Estes model rockets. If you're familiar, it looked like a paper towel tube, had a plastic cone that goes on the top. On that plastic cone, you would tie a string on one end, and then inside the tube, you would tape or glue in another piece of string. In the middle of that, there was a parachute, and you would fold the parachute up, fold it over 3 times, stuff it in, put the top on. At the end of that tube, there was like 3 or 4 fins in order to help it fly straight. And in the inside, there was a series of tubes that held a rocket, engine, little engine about yo big. Basically, when it ignited from a set of D-cell batteries and a little igniter similar to a match, it would fire the propellant, which was basically something that caused compressed gas, caused the rocket to shoot a couple 100 feet up into the air. The really, really good ones with a D-cell rocket would get like 1,500 feet in air. I was super into Estes model rocketry. Anybody that was in Boy Scouts, you know about these things because it was in the Boys Life magazine. I wanted one of them in the worst way. The one I wanted was called the Colossus, and the Colossus was around $35. $35, 1981, might as well have been $40 million, right? So what I did was I go to my mom, and I'm like, yo, mom, I need $40 in order to get this rocket. And my mom said, blank word, please, you out of your mind. I'm not spending $40 on that, blah, 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 blah. Dejected. You know, when you're a little kid and you ask your mama for something and you got that no. The no was in slow motion. It was like, no. Yeah, it was like that. Painful. Just sitting there, walling in the briar, super sad that Colossus was not going to be mine. I would go by the toy store every day after soccer practice. I ride my little BMX pass, be in the window like, Colossus, my man. I need that. So what do? I saw something on television. I learned a valuable lesson. I went back in the basement and I practiced that valuable lesson over and over and over until I had it down. And then cracked the knuckles, pulled up my socks. Yeah, back then we wore the socks up to the knees, 3 stripes, Kmart Blue Light Special, what it is. K-Light Blue Light Special, knee socks, people represent. Tie up my Pro-Cans, zip the little zipper on my kangaroos, and walk back upstairs, chest out. Grandpa, yes, son, I need $100. The hell you need $100 for? Well, Grandpa, I be doing these things and blah, blah, blah. And I've been a good kid. I did all this stuff. I got straight A's. I did all of the work, blah, blah, blah. I need $100. Grandpa said, all right, then, but I ain't giving you $100. Here's 50. That's the lesson. That's why you asked for 20. 20 things, Eileen. 22 now, since you messed it up for the rest of the class. She's going to kill me. Have that protected secret. Start with the protected secret. That is a dope story to tell. Matter of fact, I just gave you a protected secret right now. Come in close, people. Let me tell you something that a lot of people don't know. If you want a dog, ask for a horse or a snake. That's a protected secret. That story I just told you, 100% true, by the way, but that story I just told you, that is the idea of telling a story with a protected secret. If you want to get a dog, ask for a horse or a snake or something stupid, and your parents will say, why can't you just get a dog like everybody else? Booyah. In there, right? Say you're Tom Buck and you're explaining to someone how to resurrect an old camera. Be like, did you know that this old camera has some of the same specs that these new cameras have? And all you need to do is know how to go in and print a 3D plastic cover so that you can get this type of media to work, because the other type of media is insanely, say, cost prohibitive. But with this secret, I can show you right now how to save 15% on your car insurance by switching to Geico. You know what I mean? That, my friends, is talking about that protected secret, right? Here's another one. Talk about the hook, right, on a protected secret. Last week, guys, I got an email in my email box that I was never supposed to see. I mean, legit, I got an email in my box that I had no business seeing. When I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, this is a game changer. Get personal in your stories. This does have a thing to it. It is important. I am enjoying right now watching the Heather and Tom vlogs. They're very, very interesting because they're getting personal. It is allowing you to get a better look inside of people that you know. Right? It is allowing you to understand some things, but there is some things that are important about getting personal. Okay? And it's about the pratfall effect. So it's very important that you establish credibility before the vulnerability. Yeah, we got to talk about this one. It's very important that you establish credibility before vulnerability because I have seen creators just come out here and get to crying on the internet. And it's not that your crying is wrong, but if you just start out, people just getting to know you, your channel is, starting to pick up a little steam, and all of a sudden you come with the tears, it starts to come off a little bit like you're attention seeking and you're not giving any value. If your vulnerability will provide value to your audience, that's fine. If you're just crying to be crying, you're like the little kids that are crying for attention. People don't like that. Now you are forcing people to care about your illness, but you've never given them anything that was helping them. So now they went from interested party who you were helping to grow, or you were helping to learn a skill, or you were providing some value. You just became another liability to them, because now somebody I care about is got their feelings hurt, is up here crying in the streets, and now I have to spend my time worrying about them, sad about them, caring about them when I have my own problems. You don't have that same thought when it's somebody that you care about, right? When your favorite athlete gets hurt, you're concerned. You think about it. You care about it. You wonder how they're doing. You pray for their recovery. You're quiet while they're laid down on the field getting medical attention. When someone from the other team gets hurt, your humanity kicks in for a second, and you're quiet for a second just to make sure they're not dead or anything. But as soon as there's like a modicum of positivity, you get up and you go get another beer, or you go to the bathroom, or you do something else, because you're not invested in that the way you would be invested like if somebody knocked the snot out of Tom Brady. You know that Tom Buck and Tom Brady had the same initials? I'm joking. He said that the other day, and I was like, Tom, you stupid. But it was funny. So it's important that if you establish credibility first, and then something comes up where you share that vulnerability, people will get more connected. They will understand you more. They will join in the party more. But nobody just wants a psychological vampire that's always whining, always crying, and always has some excuse. That's not bringing any value whatsoever, right? Do you know how many Apple people were like genuinely sad when we first heard that Steve got pancreatic cancer? Do you know that people was out here pouring out a little liquor when Steve died? Do you know that we still celebrate Steve's birthday because he means something to us? That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, right? You have got to make sure it's called the pratfall effect, people. Go look it up. Ask Carlos. He'll explain it to you. You've got to have your credibility on point before you get vulnerable. Otherwise, you're just a little bitch. I'm sorry. I know it's mean to say that, but hey, I'm not here to be nice. I'm here to help you. You do need to respect your audience intelligence, okay? You do need to respect your audience intelligence. I'm sorry, Paul. In other words, if there's things that you can leave out of the story, just leave it out. Like, you don't have to explain everything. I tell my friends all the time, I love UK cop dramas over American cop dramas. First of all, I love police dramas. I don't know why. It's a weird thing. Started off with Law and Order back in the day, whatever. But the more you watch Law and Order and then you get to something dope like Luther, you understand the difference. If you watch the original Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch, you will see, like, when a story respects the audience intelligence, they don't feel the need to tell you every little detail. Now, movie people and story people wreck good movies by not allowing the audience to have cognitive leaps. You don't allow me to think. I can't stand those. Those hurt. They hurt really, really bad. They get on your nerves and you don't watch them. You watch some good UK cop dramas where they leave you hanging on the edge of your seat and now you're trying to think and you don't really know who did what yet what. Go watch Broadchurch and compare that to any American TV show. As a matter of fact, the Americans tried to rip off Broadchurch and make it as a different thing, but it didn't come out as good. That's what I'm saying. If you go watch Broadchurch and you'll understand right away what I'm talking about. You don't have to tell them everything. There's details that you can leave out. If the devil is in the detail, leave his ass in the corner somewhere. For the same reason, you said Intrigue by the Unspoken. You guys are still trying to figure out what email I got last week that has some kind of secret squirrel sauce in it. You know what I mean? That's the Intrigue is Unspoken. So again, if you want to get better at telling stories, you have to build a little intrigue. You don't have to go up and just tell what's fitting to happen. You don't have to explain everything. You know what I'm saying? It just works better. It just works better, right? Intrigue is what's in the unspoken. I used to tell my friends that all the time when they were out there, trying to get they're trying to dating or whatever. And it's like, bro, you're giving up all of the info on the first go. You left nothing interesting. You're not interesting. My dad used to always say strip shows would be totally horrible if people just walked out naked. It's funny, but it's true. Like, you're not going to go to the strip show and the Chippendales just come out swinging. It's just not a thing. The intrigue is in the unspoken, right? There's a little buildup. There's a little tension, right? Michael, come on with it, right? You want to lead the viewers, but not push them, right? Very, very dope. Very, very dope. Okay, moving on. Now, dope stuff. Here's a story you could tell. Here's a conflict. What's the resolution? Conflict doesn't have to be crazy. Conflict can be minor. I'll tell you a good one. Couple weeks ago, again, when I went to San Diego, For those of you who don't know, my pops was a videographer. He was a bad mofo. He was just good at it. And he was always into the technical side of stuff. And he was always into the new tech. And anything that new came out, a lot of people would, request his help with design. So many people would ask him questions as they built cameras. Like, he was that type of cat. When the Red One cameras came out, they were brand spanking new. People were unsure. People were scared of them. People didn't know what they would do. They didn't understand them, whatever. My dad immediately knew what was up, bought 2 Reds right away. In the process, first digital film cameras, like, they were his pride and joy. One, because he took the leap when everybody else was scared. He loved that. He loved the discovery. He played with them constantly. And during the time where he should have been retiring, he was all in on these digital film cameras. You've watched a bunch of movies that have been shot on the Red One, the OG Red One. Marvel movies, the Star Wars, things like that. Like, you've just seen them out there. You've seen them on these streets. When Pops passed away, my brother and I realizing that we couldn't sell them for any value that was just worth it. We wanted to find a good home for them. And Tom just popped him in the head. And my brother and I had a conversation about it, and we were like, yeah, Tom's into retro cameras. Tom will respect them. He will take care of them. He will treat them with the same curiosity, love, and attention that our pops put into them. My brother and I live in Hawaii. These cameras are 40 pounds a piece, plus the accessories necessary to run them. It's not like, you just pick this bad boy up and it's good. Like, it has a bunch of stuff that runs with them. So we were like, I'm going to ship them. Well, I looked into that. That was crazy. It was going to cost me around $400 a piece to ship them suckers. No one going to do that. Random act of kindness when your brain is in the right mindset. Katie says, hey, we're going to social media marketing world in San Diego. My brother and I came to the decision that we were going to get them to Tom in around December. Katie said we're going to social media marketing world very beginning of the year. So I went on the Google Net and I did a Google Net search. How far is Buck Desert, California from San Diego? And it said 2.5 hours as a crow flies, about little less than 3-hour drive. So I hit up Jared Spink, lives in San Diego, and I'm like, yo, I'm thinking about when I come to Diego, driving out to Buck Nation. And he was like, dope, I'll come with you, which is good for me because I don't want to drive that far by myself. So Jay and I was planning, we figured out our dates, and we decided what day we were going to drive. So I hit up Tom, and Tom was like, dude, that would be great. We'd be glad for you to come out. But we decided to do an eCam event after, and then they're like, no, we're just going to come that way. So what I did was I packed them both in Pelican cases, and I'm like, I'm just going to bring them on the airplane and just pay the $50 excess baggage fee, right, for each bag. So instead of spending $400 a piece about to ship these things, I was going to spend $100 to throw them on the plane with me. It's a little bit a lot to carry. Jared offered to pick me up from the airport. If you know San Diego, the airport, if you pass gas in the airport, you can smell it in the hotel. It's really close. So sorry, like I'm now getting verklempt because talking about my dad cameras, it gets me, okay? My bad. I'm credible though. I'm being vulnerable, but I'm credible. Deal with it. So here is how the world works, okay? Somebody mentioned in the comments about giving and how important your giving is, right? I just passed it in a comment a little bit ago. I don't know who said it, but it's up in here, right? There you go, Michael. There you go, Michael. Thank you, brother. Serve yourself by serving others. So talk about the world working the way the world works. Talk about dad still being around. I get an email from Hawaiian Airlines that went down to $100 to ship, went down to free to ship. And what was in my extra baggage? 2 cameras and all the accessories and Pelican cases. So I was able to deliver them to Buck Mirez by the grace of something. You could call it whatever you want to call it. It's my story, but I will let you call it what you want to call it. But by being willing to not try to profit off of my dad's hobby, and being willing to share it with someone who I respect, but who I also know would pay respects to my pops, and being willing to put that effort in, the door opened fully. And I walked through that mother like, hey, yo, I'm up in this piece. And if you go back and watch the last couple weeks of Tom's video, he even mentioned, and that was a conflict resolution lesson right there, people. But he also had a different version of a conflict resolution lesson. And here's this old camera. I just got it. I don't know all of the parts. I don't know what it is, but I know they're great. But I'm going to go put in that work and see if I can figure it out. I don't understand these mounts. I don't know about these lenses, whatever. And over the last 3 or 4 updates on his social profiles, he went through the hero's journey of putting my dad cameras back together and getting them to work. And it ends up in a lovely montage of Ben and Finley, the Buck Dogs. Conflict resolution. That, my friends, storytelling 101. And you got to figure out how to do that. Whether you're talking about your products, whether you're talking about your course, whether you're talking about your training, whether you're growing your community, whatever, you need to know how to do that. You need to explain your hopes and your fears, then the conflict and how it's resolved. You need to come in and do lessons learned. Lesson learned. I just gave it to you. Rather than try to profit off of something that weighed heavy on our hearts, we decided to give, and we gave. And in the process of doing the giving, I was rewarded with basically free travel of something that would have cost me a mint to try to pass on my pop's legacy. That a lesson learned, right? You see what I'm saying? And because this story still verklempt me, I gave you my vulnerability, but I'll be cocky and say, you know, my credibility is on point. Pratfall effect. We just went through today's whole lesson in a single story. And I suggest you keep watching what Tom's doing with that, because it means something to me, but it goes to show you the dope dude that is Buck. You know what I'm saying? So that's the lesson learned. You got to be willing. And when it happens, it happens. You see what I'm saying? Some of you guys just need to trust in your soup and be ready to share those stories and tell why these things matter for you, you know, and share them with your audience and allow people to come in. You know what I mean? Gotta let the sun shine in. And you know, to end every presentation, you got to end every presentation with remain teachable. That's it. You got to remain teachable. If I can tell you nothing else in this world, you got to remain teachable, people. So I'm going to suggest, if you want to get good at this, if you want to be better at what you're doing, you're going to want to spend some time brushing up your story game. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to get out there in these streets and learn how to tell better stories. Go check out some storytelling podcasts and just listen. Remember, you got to remain interested in order to become interesting. Dale Carnegie said it. Doc Rock reiterated it. You know what I'm saying? Now I got the booger schnazzies because y'all got me all out here being verklempt. All right, let's back this up. Let's run through this real quick, right? First of all, you know I start every presentation with this now. Your excuse is valid. Your excuse is 100% valid. So what? Let's get it happening. Is what it is, right? You got to get better at telling these stories. Do what you have to do talk to me. Let's work on it. I want you guys to get better at telling stories because that's how you get people to watch your videos. That's how you get people to buy your products. People will be into you, okay? It's very important. You need a date. You having a problem with your dating game, get better at telling stories. Guarantee your dating game goes up. It is what it is. The people that you like the most, go through your catalog of folks that you like the most. I guarantee you they all tell good stories. We just covered that. To be interesting, be interested. You need to have an informed opinion. Make sure that when you stand on your ground and you stand on what you know, make sure you also understand both sides of the argument. Make sure you spend some time. Don't just spit out all of these facts without understanding behind them. Find the deeper connection. Just know your stuff, people. When you know your stuff, the confidence is there. Ask an 8-year-old about dinosaurs. They will tell you everything because they are well versed in it. Go ask a kid about Fortnite or whatever else, right? You got to have an informed opinion. 20 things. What are 20 things you know right now? 20 things I know right now that have enough value that people will pay for it. Do that list. That is your homework for the week. Get your 20 things listed. People in the Drop Squad, this will come up in class. I don't want to hear no excuses, and I don't want to hear no stammering unless you're born that way. I want to hear some of these things off your list. We're going to ask. So I'm telling you, be prepped. If you're not prepped, you will get excused from class. Protected secret. What's the protected secret that you can share with your audience? What's the thing that everyone needs to know that you know? What's hiding that you would love to share about your industry? Right? In hot tubs, what's the one thing as a person looking to buy a hot tub that I should be asking that I am not asking because I'm ill-informed? Tell that story. Tell that story often. Tell that story loud till you become known. You want to talk about a really dope example of this. Do you guys remember John Legere, CEO of, what do you call that company? T-Mobile. John Legere, CEO of T-Mobile, came out and told on the entire telephone industry and changed the way we pay for phones now. I had to fix my scene. Sorry. John Legere told it. He told about like why you were going into these 2-year contracts and yet your phone was paid for in like 15 months, but they were never discounting your bill. If you kept your phone past the time that the phone subsidy was already paid for, your bill was staying the same and you was basically getting robbed. Right? John Legere, CEO of T-Mobile, changed the entire mobile industry by run tell that. So, hot tub lady, what is it in the industry about hot tubs that I need to know as an informed shopper that without this information, I am probably going to get jacked? Make that video tomorrow. And whatever videos that leads into. All right, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. It could be in your email, your website, your blog post, your Instagrams, your LinkedIns, whatever. Tell the protected secret of your industry. Get personal. I just did that. Y'all know what it is. But if you're going to get vulnerable, make sure you're credible first. Nobody just wants to see you, just winding up on the screen. Says that while I'm over here stuffy because I had to hold back my emotions, right? But be credible first. People will respect your gangster with your credibility first. You know what I'm saying? Once you are already credible, then you can get vulnerable. Otherwise, you're just whining and you're adding noise and you're adding conflict to other people's life. You become a burden, not a blessing. Respect your audience's intelligence. There's no need to tell it all. Just cover the basics. Leave the unnecessary details out. Let your audience do their thing. Right? Respect their intelligence. And intrigue is in the unspoken. Sometimes, similar to let your audience figure things out, leave some stuff open. Leave some stuff, unsaid. Let them figure it out. Conflict resolution. I just gave you guys that. I showed you a couple examples. But yeah, just dope. A buddy of mine right now is in the middle of her progress, and she's growing. She's doing amazing work, but she felt stuck. So what did she do? Start teaching other people how to get to where she got thus far. That's the resolution. There's a conflict. There's a resolution. It's in there, people. You guys got it. If you need help on this one, holla. We could talk about this in class. Share your lessons learned. That's what most of your vlogging is about. Everyone thinks vlogging is about, look at me, look at me. Casey is not giving you look at me. Casey is sharing you his lessons learned, right? Whether you like Casey or not, he's sharing you lessons learned. The hero's journey is lessons learned. Every good movie is about lessons learned. Aesop fables, Hansel and Gretel, Goldilocks and whatever them people is, all of that. That's all lessons learned, right? Your Bible stories, lessons learned, like that. Use that. Last one, of course, is remain teachable. Like, in order for you to know what to do next, like if you're stuck in your channel and you don't know where it's going, man, get your story game up, start talking about it, start sharing, build that better connection with your people, build that better connection with your community. That's it. That's the stories. Like, that's it. We will dig deeper into this, but I would strongly suggest you go look up some story slams on YouTube and just watch these people tell stories. Check out your Kevin Harts. Check out the people who just tell good stories. Ricky Gervais, another good guy. Yeah, man, just go back and dig into it and figure out how you can apply that to what you do. That's the big one, gang. You got to take the stuff that you're seeing that you enjoy and be like, how can I apply that to what I'm doing? How can I apply the work ethic of Serena Williams, Venus Williams, Richard Williams to what I'm doing? Right? How can I apply the emotional connection that Volodymyr Zelensky is hitting us with that have us waiting for his next conference? How can I apply the lesson learned from that to what's going on right now? How can I tell a story that connects me to the folks of Ukraine? I say it all the time. Half the apps that we use on this computer as Mac users come from Ukraine. If you're a SetApp user, you're in there. Clean My Mac user, in there. Anything from MacPaw, in there. Like a lot of stuff that we use on a regular basis comes from developers in Ukraine. There's a connection there. I just want you guys to dig deep. Please do your 20 lessons homework, and then we'll see you on Tuesday. Those of you who come to class, I'm going to suggest you do your homework before class. You will get asked. What are 20 things that I know that could provide enough value to others that they'd be willing to pay for? Ikigai 101. I love you guys. I absolutely missed you guys. And Keely, thank you for holding down the fort. You bodied it. Keely, you held down the fort like no others. I appreciate that. I know that the Let's Get Live family appreciates that. You did it. You did it. Okay? So appreciate that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. It's really hard to say that in words right now, but you just did it. Okay? So, guys, I appreciate y'all. Y'all came through. Y'all know what it is. Woo! I don't even know where the button is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Why can't I see right now? There it is.
City of mine, how I love the city of mine. gets me down. City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop worked his life on its complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever.